We're now moving on to panel 4, and we're very, very much on time. This panel is Innovative and Impactful STEM Talent Development Strategies. What involves the critical components of effective STEM talent strategy, STEM hiring models, and incentive programs.
Can we get everyone's attention? Rob Denson.
Everybody hears what they want to hear. All right, so our next panel, number 4, welcome them to the stage. The moderator is Angela Greeling-Keene, Deputy Technology Editor for Politico. She was the 2013 National Press Club President, served as White House Correspondent at Bloomberg News, serves on the National Press Club Journalism Institute Board, and has served on the boards for Journalism and Women's Symposium. Angela, thank you for moderating. Look forward to hearing your panel.
Morning, everybody. Welcome to the STEMconnector Conference Day 2. Welcome to the National Press Club. Glad to have everybody here in this great room on a fantastic topic. And I'm excited to be following Megan's panel. Megan and I worked together at Bloomberg, and I heard part of her panel, and it was very engaging. And I'm excited to build on the topic that was just discussed about developing workforces internally and building them up for STEM. On our panel, we'll be talking about ways to develop, train, recruit, retain, and engage the STEM workforce more broadly, both internally as well as externally. We're going to be hearing about how some people are doing some very interesting and innovative things to build their STEM workforces and recruit talent. We're going to talk about cross-generational and diversity issues. We have 5 wonderful panelists. I will introduce them and we'll get started. And we want to be sure to leave time for audience questions at the end. Just as a quick aside while we start, I am thrilled to be here moderating at a STEM conference because I'm the poster child for the person who did not go into STEM. My mother worked very hard to steer me to STEM classes and interests as a child, and I always wanted to be a journalist. So it's a little bit ironic that I am moderating a panel about how to develop STEM workforces when I managed to avoid doing that myself. But first of all, we have Susan Fallon. Susan is the Vice President of Global Strategy and Business Development at Monster. Next, we have Rich Wright. Rich is the Director of Advanced Technology and Innovation at Lockheed Martin. Going on down the line, we have Landon Taylor, the CEO of Base 11. Al Bunshaft, I'm sorry, we've switched orders. Dr. Gregory Washington, who is Dean of the University of California, Irvine Henry Samueli School of Engineering, and also the Chairman of the National Engineering Deans Council. And finally, Al Bunshaft, Senior Vice President of Global Affairs at Dassault Systems. So before I throw it to Susan to make her opening remarks, just one brief explanation for how we're going to do our opening for this panel. 3 of our panelists, Landon, Al, and Dr. Washington, are working together on a very exciting project. So they're going to kind of do a joint opening statement, and you'll hear about their project as well as see a video that'll speak more than words. So they've been looking at how one of the challenges for STEM development is the timeline, and they've been trying to find ways to accelerate STEM development strategies and bring together stakeholders who have needs for STEM talent to work together. So we have academia, private sector, as well as an talent incubator, and they'll talk about how they're working together on that. So with that, we will open with Susan.
Great, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Pleasure to be here, and we've talked a lot over from yesterday and then into this morning on the digitalization and excellence and innovation in STEM development. And I couldn't be more proud to be representing Monster here today because I think we embody that and we bring excellence and innovation every day into helping our companies, the government agencies and organizations we work with find, hire, and develop their workforce. So I thought what I'd lead our panel off today, just a little bit of data, because I know everyone in this room likes data. And we originally were going to talk, oh, here we go. Thanks, Michael. You got me where I wanted to go. On our workforce. And there's been a lot of talk about millennials last night and today, and I thought it might be helpful if we just talk about today's workforce is the first time it is truly multi-generational. We have 4 generations in our workforce today. We've got our baby boomers, we have Gen X, our Gen Y, or what we call the millennials, and then those incredible 15 to 20-year-olds who quite a few we heard from yesterday are our Gen Z. All of them are in the workforce or emerging into the workforce today. And what does this mean? It impacts how we develop, how we recruit, and also how we retain our talent. All 4 of these constituencies are motivated by different things, and you can see some of the highlights up there. Why does this matter? Because we need to understand the drivers and the motivators when we're engaging, and most especially when we're communicating to them. And one point to leave with you, especially that Gen Z and also the millennials, these are our digital native generations. They grew up and have been raised using technology in every aspect of their life. And so as we, as employers and educators and leaders in our communities are looking to engage and communicate with these individuals, we've got to keep that in mind and align our strategies accordingly. Yesterday, we also brought up in a couple of the panels this notion of an agile workforce. And I thought we added this slide quickly, and just again, for point of reference, today, almost 75% of US, and these are just US stats, US employers are using some sort of agile workforce. These are contractors, consultants, freelance, and temps. By 2019, it's expected that 50% of our workforce is going to be made up in some capacity by these agile workers. They span all 4 of those generations. And again, it's something that we want to keep in mind as we're developing our strategies and our engagement in ways that we're reaching and connecting with this workforce. It also, we're going to be able to align our technology to pinpoint and better find that talent on demand. And there's another wave, I think, in HR that is driving our ability to do that. And that really gets how we talk to our pipelines. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. But across the spectrum, we have all of us engaging in various programs, whether those are with youth, whether those are in education. Veterans is something I know many employers in this room are really concerned with. We're proud at monstermilitary.com to be helping our partners and our employers find new ways to engage and attract veterans, for example, but we're also talking about upskilling. We're talking about reskilling our current workforce. And as all of us are investing in these programs, let's not forget to connect the dots and link those connections and those individuals back to our HR processes and our talent development processes. And you can use that using technology. And the last piece there is I thought it would be important for this crowd to remember that HR tech is as much the digitalization of our business as any of the products and services that we're developing. Just last year, 2016, $2 billion in investment put into HR tech. The global industry is somewhere between 12 and 14 billion a year. These are all the capabilities. Monster's a proud partner in this space, and many others, quite a few companies in this room too, that are developing ways for you to attract, to reach, to retain, and recruit individuals and keep them and grow them in your organizations. And this has everything to do with the life cycle, from bringing them into making them aware of your organization, onboarding them, and growing them. And as you go back to your companies after today and are looking and developing your HR strategies, keep in mind that the innovation and capabilities out there are pretty incredible. And they can be aligned really closely, and we'll talk some of the programs that our partners here today are going to share of how you can leverage and tap into that talent and best align it to your needs both today and as you're growing that.
Thank you. Next, we will hear from Rich with Lockheed Martin.
Good morning. I want to make sure we are all coffeeed up and ready to go here. I have a hard time sitting down, and just my personality, so if you see my feet moving around, it's because I really want to get up and engage. Some of the things that Lockheed Martin worries about is not just, how do we reach the generations. And by the way, my daughter and my son hate that term. They're millennial. They go, no, we're part of the team. So there's everything from the language we use to how we actually excite the minds of those that are in 8th grade to be the next astronauts to those that are in the twilight of their career. So across the board, when we talk about STEM, it's not really one group. It's the holistic view of how we get all the different groups together so that we can actually move forward on some of the technologies that we haven't even looked to get on yet, if you will. So I'm going to come at it from a different perspective in that there's a lot of technology and innovation on how we go through the next recruitment cycle and how we get people excited about engineering and math and science. But Moore's Law is moving very fast. And so every time you think of Moore's Law, it's going to slow down. We're looking at lasers. We're looking at the next generation of the hologram. We're looking at cyber. We're looking at all these things that didn't exist just 7 years ago. So how do we keep the curriculars of these institutions in alignment with the needs that we have, not just today, but maybe 5 years out? So we are doing various things in Generation Beyond. And my partner from Discovery is here someplace. And, we built a school bus that when you get into it, it looks like you're going through the Mars, terrain. We're actually having dinners with university students rather than having interview sessions. How do we go out and change the paradigm from it's not just a 5-minute session with someone that is in 8th grade or in 12th grade or in 15th grade, so to speak, a sophomore, so that they are all continuously engaged in what's next in STEM and what's next in engineering and what's next in our civilization and how we're going to go about doing things. So we're looking at it from a really holistic perspective and engaging technology and partners wherever we can. So it's not just one person, one company, it's one team. And I'll pass on that.
Thank you, and I'll let Landon kick off our last opening with the last 3 panelists.
Good morning. For those of you who are not familiar with us, Base 11 is a nonprofit STEM workforce and entrepreneur development company. And our mission is to close this STEM talent gap that's being accelerated by the underrepresentation of women and ethnic minorities. And we're doing that by building partnerships between academia, industry, and philanthropy that are transforming high potential, low resource students into the STEM trained talent that industry so desperately needs. Now, the model that we use is to set up STEM accelerator ecosystems that are anchored by a Base 11 Innovation Center, facilities that enable hands-on project-based learning programming that's designed to empower students with STEM 2.0 skills, skills that will set the students on a direct pathway to 4-year STEM degrees, to high-paid STEM jobs, or to launch their own STEM-related enterprise as an entrepreneur, all within 24 months or less. Now, our view is that in order to accelerate scalable models, we need to break down the silos that exist between industry, academia, and philanthropy. And that's why I'm excited to, let's go back. That's why I'm excited to be with my collaboration partners as we share with you an example of how partnering together can create greater scale and greater impact. We call it the Base 11 UCI Autonomous Systems Engineering Academy. That's now being turbo boosted by Dassault Systems and their 3D Experience solutions. Now, this project started as a pilot back in 2015 when Base 11 funded the adaptation of a successful freshman engineering course at UCI that was designed by Dean Washington. We asked him if he could adapt it into a 8-week summer residency program for community college students, which we would recruit from all over the country. Well, it was so successful last year that when Al Bunshaft's team from 3DS saw our teams give their final capstone project, which was building a drone from scratch, they were so excited about the result, they said, we want to be involved. Because the students were already using SolidWorks, which is a 3DS solution software, the team felt like, wait a minute, these students can handle so much more. So our teams got together and came up with 3 ideas as to how to now take the program to the next level. Number one, integrate the full 3DS experience platform, which is being used by some of the top employers in 10 industries, including aerospace, high tech, and transportation, and many more. Number two, expand the curriculum into a full college credit engineering course to be rolled out by Base 11 community college partners across the country. And then number three, invite employer partners in and begin to inform us on what type of skills they would like to see incorporated and trained in the students as potential new hires for their company. And we're doing all three. And I'm happy to share that the first 3 community college partners that we're rolling this out with are here with us today. Dennis Harkins, president of Orange Coast College, is here. And Sherry Olson, that's right, so round of applause. Sherry Olson, president of South Mountain Community College, is here. And Dr. Regina Stanback Stroud, president of Skyline Community College, is here. And I just want to thank them for their innovation and their courage. Final note, a highlight to this will be the student teams from each college will be able to compete for a prize, for a competition at the world's first drone port, which we're designing in partnership with Boulder City, Nevada. And DLR Group, who is also a STEMconnector member, is who's designing it. So this truly is a STEMconnector family project. I'm going to turn it over to Dean Washington, who'll share more with you about our joint project. Dean Washington.
So my name is Greg Washington, as he said. I represent a medium-sized engineering program, a Research One institution in Southern California, and highlight just a few statistics about it, so I won't go into it in any detail. I also represent the Engineering Deans Council, and the Engineering Deans Council is the largest organization of engineering deans in the country, and we represent somewhere in the neighborhood of about 300 engineering schools and colleges throughout the country. This is a very interesting time in which we live, and I wanted to take my few minutes to really commend this group on what you're doing here. The foresight and the wisdom to bring together industry and to have an industry-led organization to tackle this issue actually is something that warms my heart. It's because while we're pushing from our end, it's great to have that pull from the industry side to say, hey, look, we recognize that this is a problem and we need the output. About what you may not know is that there are a lot of different organizations who are working on this problem, and we need to try to figure out ways to get all of us in meeting together at the same time. And so I would love to be a facilitator of that. Our numbers of engineering enrollees has actually grown from 589,000 when President Obama challenged us in 2012 to 704,000 today. So it's engineers. And the number of graduates has increased by more than 10,000. So we're actually producing many, many more, and the question is, how do we partner? This group is a representation of what a partnership can actually do and what the outcomes of a partnership can actually bring. And the fact that we're now able to include not just four-year institutions, but also community colleges means that we're able to now establish a very strong pipeline, and that pipeline is going to have tremendous outcomes for you all in industry. This here, in the end, is what we're talking about. These are all projects that those students that Landon was talking about have developed. Notice the creativity and the differentness. These are all autonomous drones developed and designed by students. They all look different. They had to work in teams. Their answers and their solutions don't look the same. There are actually many right answers and there are many wrong answers, right? Well, if your drone doesn't fly, it's the wrong answer. But amongst the many right answers, what we see is that some are much better than others. These are the kind of attributes, right? The students are competing against entities. They're competing on cost. They're competing on timeline. Many of the issues, many of the things that you all deal with in industry, we force the students to deal with, and we force them to deal with it at an early age. I contend to you that these are the kind of kids that you want to have come out of our programs and work for your companies.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. So what you see here is a bit of a depiction of the program that's being implemented, taking our 3D experience platform and project-based learning, and as Landon said, linking it ultimately to employers who we hope will join forces with us and get involved to help inform our program, to help interact with the students, and to hopefully hire those students on the back end of this program. So if you're interested, speak to us afterwards. Dassault Systems is a global software company. Our software powers innovation across a wide range of industries. And we deliver our software in what we call the 3D experience platform. It's a collaborative, interdisciplinary platform, cloud-based, that allows global teams to collaborate. And of course, you all know that that's how industry operates today. Not only the primary industry, but with the supply chain, with the partners, with the ecosystem that powers your industry. Our clients are across the widest possible range of industries. You might not know it, but every commercial aircraft in the world is designed with our software. So likely most of you who came here from outside of Washington came on an aircraft that was designed using Dassault Systems software. That's not so surprising for people who know our company, but you might not know that Pampers diapers are also prototyped and simulated using our software to determine how much liquid those diapers will hold, or to evaluate the seal of the diaper with thousands of different body types, for example. If you're a parent, you know that that's a pretty important exercise they're going through. And at the same time, BNP Paribas, a financial institution, is using our software to manage their innovation pipeline, because they have a lot of the same issues, conceptualizing offerings, bringing them to market. They have to manage incredible variation, as we heard yesterday, due to regulation. Every country has different constraints on them. So just like manufacturing enterprises, they also have a product pipeline that starts with ideation, goes through evaluation, delivery, end of life, et cetera. And so these students will gain skills that not only will allow them to create and fly autonomous drones, but those same skills, as we're hearing over and over, are the critical skills across the widest possible range of industries. No industry will be untouched by this trend in digitalization, as we said. This is some data we pulled from a public database, and it shows, and I'm sure you can't read it, and I apologize for that in the audience, but it shows the range of jobs that are in the marketplace today. It's just a snapshot from a range of employers on the right, by years of experience in the center, and by the type of position, and you can see that these are extremely well-paying jobs that offer young people an incredible career path, an incredible opportunity in the industry. So we are excited today to announce something. 2 years ago, our company created La Fondation Dassault Systems in Europe, and we funded a number of projects in Europe. And we're here today announcing that we have created the Dassault Systems US Foundation, and we're thrilled to be on stage with our partners here for the first project that this new foundation is funding. We look forward to doing more. The foundation's purpose is to fund innovative projects in education and research that